Hey everybody, Suzanne here with Caregiver Haven. So today we're going to talk about good sleep patterns for seniors. Because one of the things you have to understand is if your senior doesn't sleep, you're not going to sleep, right? So you want to get the best sleep you can get. And I'll tell you over and over again throughout this webinar that the one thing that was a game changer for all members is their sleep. If they could get a good night's sleep, their life changed. It is that significant of a difference. The other thing you need to know is that as we age, especially as our seniors age, their sleep patterns are going to change. So we constantly have to be adjusting our sleep pattern based on their sleep pattern. So it's very important that both of us have good sleep hygiene and that we understand when the changes are going to occur and how we can fix them again. So we're back to living the life we love. So let's get started. We're going to learn about the senior sleep patterns, boosting energy levels, how we do that, and then tips for good sleep, hygiene. How do we do this and guarantee it every night? Okay, optimal sleep patterns for adults over 65. As they age, their patterns are naturally going to change. There's nothing we can do about that. However, the ideal sleep duration is still 7 to 8 hours a night. You're going to hear me say this over and over again. 7 to 8 hours a night, 7 to 8 glasses of water every day. That's what we need. 7 to 8 hours, 7 to 8 glasses of water during the day. However, they're going to experience maybe a lighter sleep, more frequent awakenings, early morning awakening. And as they reach their 80s and 90s, their sleep efficiency is going to decrease, meaning that they're going to spend less time in a deep sleep. Okay. So that's going to lead to their tossing, turning, awakenings, and their daytime fatigue. They're going to get more tired during the day. And you think it's because they're slowing down. It's actually because they're not getting that nighttime sleep. That's something to always keep in the back of your mind. So understanding these shifts are going to help you adjust routines to promote their quality of uninterrupted sleep. All right. Why the seniors wake at night? Many times the seniors are waking up due to frequent urination. They're hungry, they're disoriented, they're wandering. This is going to all result in their fragmented sleep for both not only them, but you're going to hear them and you're going to get up. One of the things we know is that you need uninterrupted sleep. What I did with my mom was I would have somebody come in, a high school student. She would sleep on the couch. I paid her $20 to sleep there. If my mother got up, she got up with my mom. I did this twice. Sometimes I did it 3 times a week, but usually twice a week. I had to have my sleep. I knew it was important to me. And so many of our members have said the same thing. Once they had somebody come in and get up with their loved one, mom, dad, whoever, then they got the sleep and they felt refreshed for about 2 or 3 more days until they needed her back again or him back again to do this. So it's a wonderful way to get your sleep. And the other thing you need to know is without your sleep, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be stressed, you're going to have difficulty functioning during the day. I have seen a lot of people burn out and in caregiving. And the first thing I ask them is, how's your sleep? My patients would come in absolutely exhausted. I'd say, how's your sleep? They said, we're not sleeping. You've got to get this in. This, like I said, is the game changer. Also, too, understand that when the senior's not sleeping well, it's going to lead to a risk of falls, confusion, mood disturbances for them. And you don't know what's wrong with them. You don't know why are they falling or why are they wobbling or why are they in a bad mood? Because they're not sleeping well. A lot of people, when they don't sleep well, and worse, chronic pain is going to keep them up. So they're not going to sleep well when they don't feel well. You've got infections, you've got changes in medications, you've got a new pain going on. All of these things change their sleep pattern. So look at the root causes here of these awakenings. Are they hungry in the middle of the night? Are they getting up to pee? Are they mad at somebody? Are they worried about somebody? Have they changed their medication? Has daylight savings time changed their patterns? Has the weather changed their patterns? Are they hating their bedroom? Are they hating their bed? Are they hating their mattress? Is the spouse snoring all night? Is the dog in the bed? There's just so many things. A lot of parents have their kids sleep with them until they're 5 years old, which is the worst thing we know from child behavior over and over again. Teachers in kindergarten, teachers in first grade will say they can tell a child who sleeps with a parent their first formative years of life versus one that does not. Makes a total difference, but that's a whole nother story. But look at the root causes of why they're changing their sleep patterns or why they're getting up at night. Another thing is to create this consistent, calming nighttime routine that helps both the seniors and the caregivers get the restful sleep. So it's got to be an hour before bedtime. You got to start winding down the routine. You dim the lights, make sure you have night lights so they can see where they're walking, play soothing music, engage in relaxing activities, no brainers, okay, like reading or puzzles or listening to a story, a book on tape. Make sure the bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet. Another thing is do not turn on the news. Do not look at text messages. Do not look at email. Evening is time to wind down. If you get a text message, okay, so one member has a brother who drinks from 5 o'clock on every night. He drinks from 5 on. And she would answer his phone calls or text messages. And I said, you've got to stop. You are taking care of your mom and you are upset by his rambling. And once, if you answer the phone, you can't get off it. You know what? He doesn't remember what you said anyway or what he said. I said, so it's very disheartening. Just don't answer the phone. She said, what if it's an emergency? I said, he could call 911. And you know what? One night he did have an emergency. His house caught on fire. And guess what? He called 911. Amazing how that works. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if there's somebody in your family that you know these text messages are crazy, or any text messages or emails, just don't look at them at night. And definitely don't let your senior look at them at night, and don't discuss anything. It didn't get off the news, because the news is meant to upset us. We all know that. The news is meant to encourage disruption in our lives so we come back for more. All right. We're going to talk about encouraging some short naps. So one of the strategies to promote this uninterrupted sleep at night, so you're not only does your loved one get a good night's sleep, but you get a good night's sleep, is making sure that they use the restroom before they go to bed. They avoid excessive evening fluids. So probably around supper time, you want to stop those. Manage hunger with a light protein snack. And many folks put a light snack at the bed on the stand, so the loved one can just grab it and eat the snack and have a glass of water. And of course, the water is not in a glass, it is in a plastic cup, and they can sip on it with a straw. So make sure you've got that available for them every night, a little snack and crackers or whatever, and then they can have some fluid with it. All right, and sit up in bed if they're capable of sitting up in bed. You can also use motion sensors like alarms for safety, and this will wake you up. But again, if you've got a teenager coming in 3 nights a week to sleep on the couch, let them get up during those times. Cognitive decline is also going to cause nighttime confusion. So try to maintain this consistent schedule. If you're traveling, that's another thing that's going to disrupt this. Company is going to disrupt this. Eating bad food or different food is going to disrupt this. They go out to dinner at a restaurant and now they can't sleep at night. It's no wonder the food is making them stay up at night. Another thing you might want to do is consider speaking to their doctor. Okay, a senior, this is a sleep specialist. There's also geriatricians that are really good about this because they know how important sleep hygiene is. So one of the things you do here is you take your senior to a sleep specialist. These are guys that, they do CPAP machines and stuff like this. So they do sleep disorders. But also if you can't find a sleep disorder, which you should be able to, go to a geriatrician, but you'll find one or the other. But consider talking to them because medications are extremely important here. There are antidepressants that help people sleep better. And then there are medications like Ambien. A lot of my seniors were on Ambien, and their caregivers were afraid and said, oh my gosh, it's addicting. And I'd say, you know what? Who cares if they're addicted to Ambien at 80 years old? I said, what's the harm? They take a little pill at night, it calms them down. Think of all the losses they've had. It helps them sleep better. It helps you sleep better. Who cares if they're taking Ambien? And then there are drugs like Cymbalta, which is an antidepressant, which can help some folks. They put their head on the pillow and immediately wake up worried about things. So this helps them get to sleep. It helps them get to sleep. There are other medications that help them stay asleep. They're not having a problem falling asleep, but they're having a problem staying asleep. So there are medications out there. And typically, you give the doctor some grace here. I would explain to my patients that typically it takes me 3 medications before we find the right one that works. And it's not always going to work because things change, right? There's new pain, there's other new medications have been added to the senior. There's time differences or time changes, there's weather changes. All these different things are going to change. So I'd say, let's start out with one medication, come back in 3 weeks. We'll see how that works. And I would make the caregiver track how well the senior slept, because my goal was to have the senior sleep, uninterrupted sleep, 7 to 8 hours, 80% of the nights. That was my rule, 80% of the nights. Okay, so then they come back and they say, well, that one didn't work. And I'd say, okay, we're going to try door number 2. We'll try this medication. Come back in 3 weeks, track it, see how well it works, and let me know, or call me, of course, if something changes. And then normally by the 3rd medication, or sometimes I could cheat a little on this, and I'd say, does your senior have a brother or sister or mom who was ever on a medication that worked really well? And if they told me about that medication, we'd start right off with that medication. 90% of the time, that's the medication that worked. Okay. So if somebody in the family, it worked for them, I would give it to the senior and it would work for them. We're trying to get them to sleep all night. And again, at what age do we care if they are addicted to medications? Again, got to check with the senior doctor, obviously. All right. Another thing you want to do is you want to consider the exercising. You want to burn energy during the day. You want them to sleep so that they will sleep all night. Burn the energy during the day so they will sleep all night. Daylight savings time is going to affect them too. It's going to throw off the circadian rhythm. So what you want to do here is, like I said, you have an hour before they're ready to go to bed. You're going to start winding everything down. No text messages, no news, no bad stories. Reading a good book is great. Prayers are great. The Bible. Why do you think so many people read the Bible before they went to bed at night? Because it gave them peace of mind. Okay. There's mindfulness practices. There's deep breathing exercises you can do, things like that. It's important to understand that with daylight savings time, you want to start 4 days before the clocks change, and you want to move the clock 15 minutes. 15 minutes, spring forward or fall back. Okay, so in the spring, you move the clocks forward. So 15 minutes for 4 nights in a row, and then you'll be all caught up. So these are the little increments we probably needed to do with our children at one time to get them to mesh into the new schedule. So think about 4 nights before daylight savings time, 4 nights before fallback time. Go ahead and start changing the clocks or the routine. Okay, managing these energy levels during the day. As I said, during the day, you're going to expend as much energy as you can from them. How do you do this? Believe it or not, there are certain routines we do every morning which are amazing to expend energy. And then a power nap of 15 to 20 minutes is going to burn the rest of the energy during the day. Let me explain to you what I mean here. So in the morning, what you're going to do is you're going to have your senior wake up, and you open the curtains, get the sunlight in. That's going to raise the energy level. You have your senior stretch a little bit, even if it's just to yawn and stretch, and drink a glass of water. How many times have I seen in assisted living homes, the caregiver comes in the morning and says, "Now, Mrs. So and so, I see your glass of water is still sitting on the bedstand," and makes her drink that glass of water. Water is amazing. I did an experiment. I've talked about this in our membership. I did an experiment when I was teaching high school. My kids would come in after lunch and that class would fall asleep. They were just, I don't know, passed out from all the carbs and the heavy meal they had eaten at lunchtime. And it was like, I mean, I wasn't boring. I would tell stories and make all my other classes energized, but this class, nope, fall asleep. So I said, I've had it with them. So one day I went out and I bought several cases of water. And the next day I made every single student drink a bottle of water. I said, you got to drink it. And man, they perked up. 3 days later, these kids are not quiet. They are asking questions. They are learning. They are all over the place. I didn't care if they had to go to the bathroom. They were coming back in and they were totally changed class. Unbelievable. Well, I stopped it after 3 days because I couldn't keep providing water for them. And sometimes it was okay if they slept, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, water is going to energize. Water is amazing. So managing these levels throughout the day. One of the things is to get them up and get them going. The next thing is to make sure they're getting good protein rich breakfast. All right. Have them up. If they sleep mid morning, maybe late morning, 15 to 20 minutes, set the alarm. These are power naps. Ben Franklin taught us this way back when. Power naps will get us through the whole day. Now, if you will notice after lunch, seniors start slowing down. It's just they don't have enough energy. So between the power nap and the water after lunch, they're going to expend more energy. If they expend more energy during the day and we get them up to at least supper time, doesn't that mean they're going to sleep better at night? Yes. So many people say, oh, they shouldn't nap during the day. They should nap for 15 minutes, 20 minutes max during the day. Yes, because it gives them the energy to get them through from 1 o'clock to 5 or 6 o'clock. It makes them burn more energy during that time because they're up and active. They're doing things. Keep them busy too. Okay, next, avoiding burnout after the big change. Okay, so whatever the change is, whether it's a trip, whether it's daylight savings time, whether it's the weather, whether it's a medication, whether it's a new pain, a new chronic, a new disease diagnosis, a new worry, a new wedding, a new funeral, a new loss, anything that gives them a big change in their life. We got to get them back to sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, 7 to 8 glasses of water a day. So what we're going to do here is we're going to counteract their restlessness, right? By you scheduling breaks throughout the day. You're going to set boundaries throughout the day. You're going to practice your own mindfulness techniques, right? Your own exercises. But one of the things I want to point out here, and a wheelchair reminds me of this, is after supper time, if it is still light out, one of the best things you can do is put your senior in a wheelchair and go for a walk. Even if they can't walk, fresh air is amazing. All of us know this. We used to take our kids out to the park, make them run, play baseball, games. Being outside, outdoors, is going to make them tired. Let them have the fresh air. And you, in the meantime, are expending energy by getting a walk in place and tiring your own self out so you can sleep all night. Doing these little things are not hard. They're not costly, and they're really not time consuming. They're enjoyable. Appreciate that you can walk and you can push a wheelchair. It's good for you, and it'll build up your shoulders and your arm muscles too. Plus, you'll have great conversations. So it has to be what? Maybe 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. What a lot of members have told me is they started out walking, 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes, and then they end up walking forever because they're enjoying stories and their parent is sharing with them things that they never would have shared with them had they not done that walk. And it's one-on-one time. It's pretty cool. All right, managing stress before bedtime. So high stress levels are going to make falling asleep difficult. So you're going to try to relax, do the breathing exercises. This is for you. Also, journaling is always a good thing. Um, Journaling is a way of showing gratitude of all the wonderful things you have in your life and all the things that went right for you during the day. Don't write down the things that went wrong. Write down the things that went well. Think of the things that you marvel about. Get rid of the TV, get rid of the TV show. You've got to have this hour before bedtime. It's going to lower your stress and you'll have amazing sleep. I'm blessed because I do all of these techniques. I am not kidding you. Of course, I have nobody to wheelchair around after supper, so I take my own walk during supper, after supper, and listen to a book on tape that I love. I love the library, so I just listen to all my books on tape. Um, Try breathing exercises that will help you. One of the things I want you to think about is after you put your loved one to sleep, what should you do? A lot of caregivers want to run off and start doing things, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, mopping the floor, sitting down, looking at their text messages, emails. Worst thing to do. Right after you put your loved one to sleep, I want you to start thinking about winding down too. Or if just take 10 minutes and just relax and do nothing. Don't look at emails, don't look at text messages, nothing. Just relax. What would you do if I told you you couldn't do anything for 10 minutes? What would that do that you just sat and enjoyed? Would you put on some music and relax? Light those candles or, those fake electrical battery operated candles, turn those on, dim the lights, and just sit there quietly in a dark room for 10 minutes before you get up and do your other things. You'll find it's a game changer. I promise you, it is amazing when you start relaxing. So think about doing that, relaxing on your own for 10 minutes. It also reminds me of when we had little babies, when they fell asleep for their naps. Remember the first 6 weeks when they never slept through the whole night, how exhausted we were? So, what did we do? When they napped, we napped, right? And the minute they went to bed, we went to bed too, because we knew that we'd have to be up in 2 or 3 hours to feed them again. So, we slept when they slept. You might think about the same thing with seniors. It's really no different. Um, you got to sleep when they're sleeping. Uh, let's talk about how to wake up and feel refreshed. Okay. If you wake up and you're still groggy in the morning, one of the best things to do is open up those curtains. Get those curtains open, get the sunlight in. That kind of refreshes us in the morning. It's like, good morning, and the sun comes in. Hydrate immediately. Get that glass of water and drink it. Even if it's 4 to 6 ounces, drink the water. You have to think about this. You have not, or your senior has not had water since supper time the night before. So that is 5 or 6 o'clock the night before. Here it is 5 or 6 o'clock or even later the next morning. So over 12 hours have gone by with no water in your body, no food in your body. A lot of people talk about fasting. Well, you just did the big fast. You fasted for 12 hours, right? No water, no food. All right. First thing you want to do is get that glass of water. Like I said with my students, it's going to perk you up. Get the sunlight and stretch. Stretch is going to get us moving again. Even if we like to stretch our wrists, turn our wrists in circles, turn our arms in circle, whatever it takes. You don't have to get weights and stuff like this. I'm talking about just stretching those muscles out like you're like a cat does. The first thing a cat does when it wakes up is just stretch. A dog will stretch. Stretching is a great exercise. All right. It kickstarts your energy levels. And then get that high protein and fiber breakfast in you. And that's going to sustain you or your loved one for the rest of the morning. Continue to drink the water to rehydrate. That's going to keep bursting alertness. Then you have lunch, and then you take that power nap so you can get through the afternoon with energy, because you're burning off the energy so you can sleep at night. They're burning off the energy so they're going to sleep at night. Optimizing your senior sleep schedule also means getting out after supper, as I said, getting out for a walk if you can, even if it's chilly outside. Hey, that's okay. One of the big things you have to do here is limit caffeine, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But get out, get in that outdoors, get in that fresh air. That is going to knock us over and put us into a good night's sleep like nothing else. I know from experience from boating, when I boat all day, I come home and I just want to sleep on the couch. I can't do it because I'm going to be up all night, right? So I stay awake until I can finally get to my bedtime. You want to do the same thing. You want to be outdoors as much as possible so you'll sleep better at night. Play outdoors is what we say. All right, these power naps, I want to go into this a little bit more, again, because they're so important. It's an afternoon nap from 10 to 20 minutes. That's it. And then that gives you the energy to burn off more energy after in the afternoon, all the way up to supper time. All right. Longer naps are going to lead to grogginess and nighttime disturbances. It's not going to work. They have to be 10 to 20 minutes long. I remember my father doing this when taking care, he was a physician and he knew this back in the 60s. He would sleep on one couch, grandma on the other couch, grandpa on the other couch. So when they took their naps on the couches, he took naps on the couch and got up 20 minutes later, maximum. No, I think it was 15 minutes later. And he was ready to go the rest of the day. So were they. All right. Quiet room. Lights are out. Everybody's going to fall asleep. We do the same thing with kids in kindergarten. We give them a little nap right after lunch and bam, they are ready to go the rest of the day and they get a good night's sleep because they burned off all that energy. Usually it's between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No later. No later. Try to get them down at 1 o'clock. And you get down too. It's not a bad idea for you to fall asleep. Don't go looking at those text messages, emails. Go take a nap. Mindfulness is also important. And this is where you want to make sure that you are looking at, all your muscles gradually, or a gratitude journal, something where you appreciate all the things that are going on instead of the racing thoughts. Just sit for a few minutes and think of how blessed you are with all the things you have in your senior care journey. Think about all the people who appreciate what you do, all the people that know that you're doing a hard job. Think about all the people who come to your aid when you need them. Think about how much your loved one appreciates the work you do for them. Those are so many things. Think about the lights that you have. Think about the fact that you don't have to go to an outhouse. You have a toilet right in your bedroom. Think of the water that flows when you hit that faucet. Think about the refrigerator. It keeps your food cool. Think about a grocery store where you can get food and don't have to search 8 hours for it and go out and kill it and skin it and all that, like some people still do. Think about not worrying about diseases that we've gotten rid of and our children don't suffer with, or we don't suffer with. Think about the people that support us and the people that protect us. All the things in life. Think about your car that starts every day and doesn't give you problems. Think about a place to park your car that's safe. Think about how safe you are. There's just so much to be appreciative of, and we don't often appreciate it. All right. So don't hit that snooze button, as I've said before. Stretch, water, sunlight, and then that protein-rich breakfast. All right. If you want to get up 15 minutes before your senior does, go for it. Sometimes seniors will lie in bed for a while just thinking, and they don't get up immediately. But make sure that when they do get up, they do drink that glass of water because it is that important for them. It maximizes their energy and productivity during the day. Then the other thing you want to do is don't let them lie around all day watching TV and eating potato chips. You got to get them up and you got to get a routine going. All right. Just like you did your kids when they were little before they started kindergarten. You had routines for them. You know, they were going to dance or they were napping in the morning or napping in the afternoon, and then they'd get up and burn that energy. Um, I remember well, yeah, I remember my son. He was 3 or 4 years old, and we'd do the warm bath at night, and I'd get him all calmed down, and then we'd read a nice book, and then we'd say our prayers and go to bed. And I'd hear him upstairs sometimes rustling around upstairs. He wasn't doing anything but rustling around. And I said, Next thing I know, he's standing next to me downstairs by the couch. So I would make him run his little legs off. He'd have to do 30 circles around the couch. And then I put him to bed nicely, and you think, well, that's going to wake him up. It didn't. It tired him out. He fell right to sleep after that. So of course we can't do that with our seniors. But if they aren't falling asleep immediately and they're rustling around, talk to their doctor about it. So also too, let's create a nice environment. And I am not just talking about blackout curtains and white noise machines here. I'm talking about a whole slew of things that you can do in the bedroom. If you or your parents or your spouse, whoever's bedroom, if they don't like it, they're not going to get a good night's sleep, period. So one of the things I want you to think about here is a cooling blanket. Okay, a cooling blanket, you get them off of Amazon. They're amazing. I keep a cooling blanket at the bottom of my bed because I wake up every single night. I could turn the air conditioning down to 30 and go to bed freezing cold, and I will still wake up at least once in the middle of the night, sweat, total in sweat. It's been going on for 25 years, I guess. So I have a cooling blanket, and it sits at the bottom of my bed, and I take that puppy and I pull it up over me. I knock off if I have any bedding on me, I knock that off. I put the cooling blanket on me, and I'm back to sleep again within minutes. So that cooling blanket cools me right back down again. The other thing is a heavy blanket. You know, those blankets that weigh 15, 20 pounds? That might work. Keep the room cool, keep the room dark, keep the room warm. Do socks make it better? Do socks make them too hot? Does a hat make them better? Does a hat make it too hot for them? What about a fan? Do they need a fan? If they need a fan, do they need a hat on so the fan doesn't get too cold on their head? You got to think about all these things. The biggest thing I will tell you about is you want night lights, okay? Because you don't want them falling if they do get up to go to the bathroom. But you also want to get rid of the mirrors. Get rid of the mirrors. People with dementia are confused. When they look in a mirror, they think they're looking at somebody sneaking into their bedroom. I'm not kidding you. It frightens them. Get rid of the mirrors. Another thing to do is their mattress. Is their mattress comfortable? If not, get rid of it. Shouldn't be more than 10 years old anyway. Is their bedding comfortable? I used to use the bed sheets my mom handed down to me from 1970s. And a friend of mine finally said one day, Suzanne, why don't you get some decent bed sheets? I said, oh, these are good. And they said, no, you got to get better. There's bed sheets that like you're sleeping on cotton. And I looked them up on Amazon, and sure enough, I wondered what took me so long. These sheets are amazing. They make you feel like you're sleeping on air. And then, because I have a firm mattress, I've still got the firmness, and I've got firm mattress bedding cover on top of it. And I've got sheets that are making you sleep on cotton, like you're in the clouds. Absolutely. It's amazing. So get better bedding. I mean, you don't put up with this stupid bedding anymore that's like sandpaper. That's ridiculous. Oh, you'll see the difference. They don't have to be silk. They just have to be this soft mesh bedding is, I don't know what they call it, but it's just soft. It's kind of like cotton. All right. Managing caffeine. All right. Here it's not okay. Not okay. This is where you need to get off the caffeine. Your loved one needs to get off the caffeine. I'm going to talk about Diet Coke here for a minute. Diet Coke has 0 calories, but it still has sugar, right? Sugar does not mean calories. Just because it has sugar does not mean it has calories. When you have sugar, it just means you want more sugar because you're addicted to sugar. We've talked about this. So what you want to do here is you want to get off the sugar and you want to get off the caffeine. It's a double whammy because drinking caffeine makes you want more caffeine. That's addicting. Drinking sugar, fake sugar, makes you want more sugar of some kind. That's a heavy meal and that's addicting. So you got a double whammy of addiction here with sodas. Diet sodas, regular sodas, it doesn't matter. I've had people who are addicted to soda. Mountain Dew's the worst. Diet Coke is bad. I had a gal just riddled with cancer after drinking 15 cans of Diet Coke every day for I don't know how many years. It was so sad because she was a coworker of mine. She was a wonderful nurse practitioner and she just died of cancer. It's just awful. But I'd hear her popping those Cokes all day long in her office, all day long. Water. Water is what we need. Okay. So no caffeine during the day, a power nap in place of a Diet Coke. The other problem you have is if you drink a Diet Coke and you drink a Diet Coke, you've lost the opportunity to drink a glass of water. You got to drink your water. Got to have more water because remember, the water is going to give you the energy you need to burn the energy during the day so you sleep better at night. It's a balance. It's a seesaw effect. All right. More energy burned during the day means a better night's rest. If you've got to have food at bedtime, try like bananas, almonds, warm milk, something like that. A lot of people have muscle cramps. I have found a glass of milk, one glass of milk a day will solve the muscle cramps. That's amazing. You just don't have them anymore. So that might work. But talk to the senior's doctor about this too. But a light snack full of protein will help tremendously for that. Okay. Good dietary choices. Try to stay away from any processed food, but get off those Diet Cokes, those Mountain Dews, whatever soda you want. Wind down with some decaffeinated coffee, warm milk, warm decaffeinated coffee if you want that, something warm. Because we tend not, kids we can put in a bathtub and nice warm bath calms them down. But for seniors, we don't tend to put them in a bathtub at night. Dim the lights 1 hour before bedtime. That helps tremendously. And get off the news. All right. Next thing is managing the sleep disruptions. The biggest thing you can do here is hire a high school student to come in 2 or 3 nights a week if you can't get your senior to stop disrupting their own sleep, which is disrupting your sleep. Why? Because this is going to lead to chronic fatigue. I have found that many of my members can go 2 or 3 nights of interruptions before they have to have that one night of uninterrupted sleep to refresh themselves. More is better, of course. So try all these things. Make sure they pee before they go to bed. Start an hour before, but make sure they're running all day long. Keep them busy, 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 busy during the day so that they sleep better at night. Make sure there's no stressors, discomfort, environmental factors in their bedroom. Make sure that everything is calmed down and they love sleeping. They love their bed. If you don't love your bed, get a bed that you love. If you wake up in the middle of the night, avoid the clock because a clock will make you think of time, which gives you a thought, which wakes you up. I recommend you put a towel over the clock and you will have no problem there. Get back to sleep, listen to music, listen to a book on tape, or just fall back to sleep, but don't look at that clock. That's going to form a disruption. So looking back and recapping your takeaways, daylight saving times 4 days before it occurs, start 15-minute increments. Make sure you prioritize sleep habits an hour before they wake up. Make sure the first thing they do when they do wake up is the energy boosting techniques, the water, the sunlight, the stretching, and then a protein-rich breakfast keeps them going during the morning. do that power nap at 1 o'clock in the afternoon so they keep going, busy, busy, busy until supper time, and that will wear them out. Talk to their doctor if they need anything else. Take care. We'll talk soon. This is a game changer. Please practice good hygiene.